are becoming more and more important in the Cardano ecosystem, like the proposal we are going to hear soon from Seán. And the conference is one way to do it. So the idea of the conference is we will start with kind of 5 minutes general about Cardano4Climate, and what we are doing and the partners in the conference. We have also great partners already. Then we will go into 5 minutes, either speaking about generally about Cardano and climate change, or Nori, what I thought after we communicated yesterday, actually to present the SPO's calculation for the Cardano footprint, which can be an interesting one, because it's quite a good one. After that, so if they're available to present it, that will be wonderful. After that, we can present, we are doing our survey, Raz from Sustainable ADA and myself, we are doing a survey about proposals and SDGs in Fund 6. So we can present that to show, okay, how much of Fund 6 were proposal related to SDGs and which type of SDGs, and kind of promote some sector of proposals there. So that will be 5 minutes, so in total 15. Then we go into a guest speaker for 10-15 minutes. We have someone called Scott Poyton, which is an incredible gentleman that for over 20 years promoting non-deforestation, and he basically initiated a non-deforestation agreement or commitment that's signed today by 1,000 multinationals already. So we will be speaking about how we take actions. So that will be 10-15 minutes. Then we will have Alison will come up with some kind of a gamification of how each one of us can actually start taking action, right? So, and kind of build some gamification around that with the idea that to move people, to motivate people to already take action. And we will present it in the next conference. And then we will go into breakout room, where we'll have different categories. In each category, so there will be recycled economy, there will be green energy, regenerative agriculture. So in each category, we'll have a presenter that have a proposal, and he will present in 5 minutes the subject, generally the area, like what does it mean green energy, and then he will present his proposals and have a discussion. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. What do you think? Any comments about that from anyone? It sounds clear, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, I have to go through it again. I'm still on Telegram trying to grab in a few stragglers here. Yoram, I trust you entirely. And Tivo,
Okay,
maybe Tivo, you are working on the Miro board, is that right?
Yeah, so you have the meetup link top, and then you have the doc, which is a little bit messy still, the doc, but you can go through the doc and give any comments you have around that. It's kind of a doc for everyone to give their comments, where we will build the content of the conference. But I think it's already built like a very exciting one, and the foundation is also aware of that. And probably some people, we already have 35 people signed. And I encourage us to, you know, we will get, yeah, let's make it big. I assume we'll get over 60, 70 and more people there. So let's get it bigger. One room will be dedicated to people outside from the blockchain, which is also important, but are dealing with climate change. But we want to encourage people out of the community to come and see and learn about blockchain and climate change and see how we can help them. So keep it that open so we can continue and grow that. Yeah, hello everyone. So yeah, so that's kind of the idea for the next 2 weeks. So if anyone has a comment about this or an idea, we're happy to hear. Just before, then after that, we will bring it to Seán to give a small presentation. But before that, any feedback?
Yeah, just a comment for me. I've been reaching out to all the SPO groups, and I'll check again today, but so far there hasn't been any reply. for any stake pool operators who are interested in participating, which is too bad. But as Yora mentioned yesterday, we did find some data that some SPOs did on their carbon footprint and the energy consumption of the Cardano network. So that's really great. And then I reached out to Alexander of Monad Pool yesterday. He's the author of the Unsigned Algorithms NFT drop. And apparently he's been doing a lot of work as well around carbon footprint and doing the calculations. So I wanted to get him at least to get access to the work that he's done. So we're not reinventing the wheel either. But I've yet to hear back, but hopefully he'll reply. So that's kind of an update from me.
Jonathan just jumped into our Telegram chat too. I reached out to him this morning for the challenge team, the SPO challenge team. And sorry, Yoram, I had to delete a couple people off of our Telegram. So it went back to 98 and we're back at 99. There was a couple deleted accounts. So
Okay.
I've also been reaching out to off-chain places. We possibly have presentations from Waya, Professor Owusu from the Climate Center in Ghana. We're meeting with him on Thursday, so we'll figure out if we can get that portion in there. We also want to make this a very collaborative event. I'm not sure, Yoram, if you touched on an education part, but at least we should have links to the resources for people to be writing their proposals if we don't present on it in our event itself, but at least we need to have the links and have some sort of representation from the school, Catalyst School.
Yes, I just spoke actually with Victor and and I know that Nori and Simon also speaking with him, and we definitely will have a section within the school about supporting climate change proposals. So definitely we'll have their support. I mean, we want to bring the community as many as possible, and we're working with Swarm and with Waya and the Catalyst School also around that. I think one interesting thing that came yesterday, I mean, we were working to basically, we are not funded challenge, but we are part of the challenge team. It's funny enough. So, I mean, the challenge team basically accepted us as part of the challenge teams, even though we are not funded. And our tagline, kind of one of the tagline we used that came yesterday with brainstorming between people is, we started as a challenge and we became a community, right? So the objective really is to become a community that supports each other and bring up the proposals and make sure, again, Cardano and climate change come more and more together.
And unlike politicians that get elected for 4 years and then they leave you, we are kind of an umbrella organization that is here to stay and create a resource for proposals. We also have the slide deck. We didn't make it into town hall today. If we want to run through that, I don't know, it might be kind of fun to see what that would be if we were in town hall. Our 4-slide deck. You want to try it? Anybody? And then also Seán, I have to watch your time. Do you need to be co-host? Do you need to share anything?
I do need to be host. Yeah, host has disabled screen sharing.
Okay, perfect. I'll make you host. So maybe Seán, you can go into yours, and then we will, hang on a second here.
Yeah, so the idea in this weekly meetup is to give an update about activities of Cardano4Climate, call for help. I mean, everyone can come and help and be part of it and do the best he can. And then we thought about presenting a proposal, if anyone wants to present and see ideas and support and get inspired, get some knowledge, and see how we can have ideas and support it. So that's part of the objective. Please, yeah, no, and then.
Seán, are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Seán, you go ahead, and Uskar, just before Uskar is Gutske coming today?
Yes, I'm here.
Is
Hello,
Gutske
Gyokye.
good? Yeah.
Let me check with you. She must be here, but for this time she has challenges. You know, it is because just the end of her work, and she is usually on the way at that time. But I will check with her. Okay.
And we're also here for an hour and a half total. So, and maybe a little longer if need be. And then we can record anything as well. So, okay, with that, you go check, and Seán, it's yours.
Cool. Can you guys see my screen? Nice. So thanks everyone. My name's Seán Lynch. I'm the founder and developer of Open Litter Map. So Open Litter Map is an open source, interactive and accessible database of the world's litter and plastic pollution. And it's crowdsourced entirely by non-professionally trained scientists or just ordinary people. So all around the world, millions of people have been equipped with these incredibly powerful handheld supercomputers that can collect data. But we haven't yet begun to scratch the surface even of what this unprecedented human resource is capable of. And when there is a data collection experience that meets everybody's high technological expectations, and when there's an incentive that encourages people to go out and do the work, I believe this will help unlock society's data collection capacity. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to produce these huge global data sets incredibly rapidly. So the combination of the data collection experience, that's the game and the app, and then the Littercoin incentive will help unlock some of this capacity, and we can start generating town level and national and international level data sets in incredibly short spaces of time. Open Litter Map is open source. All of the code is open. You can find that on GitHub, and you can learn with us, you can debug it, you can inspect it, you can build with us, and you can fork the project. And we're trying to make a great starting point for anyone interested in citizen science. So you could swap this and turn it to something else and apply it to whatever else you're interested in, be it bugs or spiders or anything else. But I choose litter and plastic pollution for several reasons. It's my first citizen science app. Number one is because just because of the impact it has on the environment. I'm sure we're all aware of that by now. But it's also an important catalyst for unlocking that data collection capacity and building up society's ability to crowdsource data, because litter is everywhere. You don't have to travel very far to find it. You just walk outside or look out the window and you'll find cigarette butts, broken glass, plastic bottles, everything else. And it's also easily identifiable. So everybody already knows what they're dealing with. It's not like species where you need a PhD in ecology to identify an ant. Here, everybody knows what a cigarette butt is. Everyone knows what a plastic bottle is. So litter mapping has a very low barrier to entry. And that makes it an important catalyst for the development of citizen science. So I'm a geographer by training, studied geography, I'm a GIS guy in college. But when I was introduced to OpenStreetMap, I was inspired to create Open Litter Map. So OpenStreetMap is that background map that you're looking at, those tiles, the countries, and that was crowdsourced by about 2 million volunteers around the world. It's the most comprehensive map of the world ever made. I'm sure you're all familiar with Google Maps, which is owned by Google, but OpenStreetMap is owned by the OpenStreetMap community. So it's entirely open source, it's open data. You can download all the data for free. You can use it for whatever you want. And when I was introduced to OpenStreetMap, I went looking for a similar platform for crowdsourcing data on litter and plastic pollution. I couldn't find one. So that's how Open Litter Map was born, after being inspired by OpenStreetMap. A few years later, then I had the methodology developed. I wrote my dissertation on this in 2014, 15, and I was introduced to tokenization on Ethereum. And I already knew that I wanted a reward to give people for doing the work. And when I discovered the concept of you could tokenize something, I thought, well, why don't we tokenize the data collection process? So you have all these people that are going around collecting data. Why don't we give them some award, a digital unit of merit for doing the work? So we took the proof of work principle and applied that to citizen science for the first time. And that's how Littercoin was born. So I'm sure you're all familiar with plastic pollution. Our knowledge about how badly polluted the world is significantly underdeveloped. But this is ripe for disruption as we bring in hundreds of millions of people with powerful devices that can collect data. So traditionally, surveys were done in incredibly small scales by professionally trained scientists who have to make inferences on how badly polluted the world is based typically on waste management metrics or population density, and they create these algorithms that model how much plastic we think is going into the ocean. But if you read the major studies that are referenced every day in the media, those studies recognize that these are inferences. You've all heard there's 8 to 12 million tons of plastic going into the ocean every year. Those figures may be correct, but those studies recognize that there's a huge lack of data to actually underpin them. So they're inferences based on other metrics like population density and waste management and a small bit of data put in there. But our knowledge about how badly polluted the planet is ripe for disruption as we start empowering and unlocking society's data collection capacity. So although these figures may be correct, that there is 8 million tons of plastic going into the ocean every year, I don't believe that they appropriately characterize plastic pollution. I don't think that's the best characterization that we can come up with, that lots of plastic is going into the ocean. Yes, it's correct, those figures might be correct, but a more appropriate characterization, I think, is that plastic pollution is everywhere. You just have to walk outside and you'll find it. And it shouldn't come as a surprise then to find images like this if you're seeing plastic bottles littered everywhere in the streets. It's not just plastic as well. There's also trillions of cigarette butts are dropped around the world every year. They're made of plastic. What's actually more harmful, I think, is that when a cigarette is smoked, those chemicals from the cigarette will accumulate in that plastic butt. And when that's thrown away and it meets water, those toxic chemicals, nicotine and other compounds get released into the environment. And then those chemicals bioaccumulate in other plants and animals that cascade throughout ecosystems and trophic levels. So there's also billions of face masks now littered around the world that may be increasing the risk of transmission of the virus. There's children falling on used needles in playgrounds. There's dog shit everywhere. There's broken glass that pets have to walk past and get injured by. So it's not just plastic anymore. Like, this is a huge global terrestrial and aquatic emergency, more urgent than climate change, I think, because extracting CO2 from the atmosphere is a lot easier than getting plastic out of the ocean, especially when it starts breaking up into trillions of micro and nanoplastics. So to fix this, what we need to do is empower society to use the devices that everyone has become addicted to. So we've all have these incredibly powerful handheld supercomputers, but we haven't really scratched the surface of what harnessing this human resource is capable of. So here's what a map of litter looks like, and you'll notice straight away it just has a really powerful story behind it. Like, this just got this really powerful visualization. And for many people, litter has become normal, it's become invisible, and it's blended into the background of our lives. And what this data is powerful at is communicating that, because it doesn't matter what language you speak, what alphabet you use, anyone who looks at this is going to understand cloud of points, lots of problem, maybe we need to change what we're doing to fix it. So that was crowdsourced by just one user of the Open Litter Map app. So we're trying to make it fun. We're trying to make it easy. We're trying to turn cleaning the planet into a game. So we're trying to make it competitive, like esports, plastic litter, data collection. You've all heard of Pokemon Go, but instead of catching these virtual creatures, we're going to bring people back into reality, and we want to engage them with the immediate environment around them. And just now, as it's easy, everyone sends tweets every day. So too, in the not too distant future, everyone will be active data collectors in what I call social media 2.0. With social media 1.0, which is what we're familiar with today, we share information. We share memes, news articles, resources, videos, and information and knowledge about the world. And this is very powerful because plastic pollution was first recognized to have a global distribution in the oceans as early as 1975, but nothing was done about it for decades until, I think, social media came along. And what social media did is it empowered the democratization of information. People could easily share and consume information and reach a global audience. And what we witnessed is that almost overnight, plastic pollution just became this huge mainstream topic, even though scientists were talking about it for decades. But that scientific dialogue was locked away in research papers, paywalls, conferences, and it didn't have the mass appeal. So the traditional institutions that we have failed to communicate this problem and covered it up for as long as they could until social media came around, and suddenly it changed mainstream political dialogue globally almost overnight. Now we're entering a new phase of social media, which I call social media 2.0, which is not just sharing the information, but actively collecting data about the environment and using that to create policy changes or measure the effectiveness of policy, like why are some locations better resourced than others? Why do these people get bins? Why are there no bins in my community? How much is spent on litter picking and cleaning and street services? And it's in the millions of dollars for most countries nearly every year. And I believe that money is largely misfocused, and we'd have a much more positive impact on actually not just managing this problem, but just fixing it if we actually educated people and engage them in the scientific process and improve their scientific literacy, their data collection capacity, and empowered them with scientific knowledge. And that's possible by engaging people in the citizen science process, which is very powerful. So as a reward for doing this work, people are rewarded with Littercoin, and that's the first token rewarded for the production of geospatial information or collecting data about the environment. So my research started in 2008. There's more than 12 years research behind it. It started when I was introduced to GIS. of studying geography. It's a mapping software. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could map illegal dumping, which is near where I live. It's plagued, but there's a spot plagued by dumping and littering and antisocial behavior. And I wanted to use GIS to put this on a map and get it fixed. Anyway, I did 2 masters to develop the methodology. I worked as a diver in Thailand for about 6 months. And when I was working as a diver in Koh Tao, which is where I took this photo, I discovered that there was all these backpackers who were really interested in the environment, but there was no platform for them to engage with it and to actually collect data and have a conversation about it. So I saw this huge untapped resource of backpacker potential. And then I was introduced to OpenStreetMap, and I couldn't find the platform for litter and plastic pollution. That's how OpenLitterMap was born. So as a reward for doing the work, what we want to do is create zero waste incentives and give people access to the climate economy. So my plan is with Littercoin is to create the Littercoin staking pool, and that staking pool can generate rewards, which will accumulate in a smart contract, and that will give every Littercoin value. So if you're a user and you're using the app, you've earned yourself a Littercoin, you'll be able to go to one of our pre-approved, whitelisted zero waste stores who will be able to give you discounted access to the circular economy. So Littercoin then is rewarded for collecting data about the environment. It's the first token rewarded for collecting GPS data, essentially. It's a non-tradable token. And what I mean by that is it won't be listed on any exchange. So we're not signing up to any exchanges, don't care, all the crypto crap. It's not what our community is interested in. So we're trying to create a low barrier to entry and get people on board with crypto. And I think crypto has two major barriers to mass adoption at the moment. Number one is exchanges. They're too technical and confusing. And number two is many people don't want to part with their cash. So they've worked hard for their money, and many people don't see cryptocurrency as a reliable store of value or investment, and they consider it very risky. So we made the decision there'll be no cash, so you don't have to pay for anything. And then there's no exchanges, so you don't have to sign up to anything. You just go out there, start taking photos, and when you meet a certain threshold, At the moment, it's 100 photos that have to pass verification in a row. So we manually inspect all of the data that comes in. We've an admin section and a team of volunteers doing that, and we need help. But once a user gets 100 images past verification in a row, that's the current milestone to unlock 1 Littercoin. And then there's the game. So we're trying to turn cleaning the planet into a game, and all of that's my competitive advantage, I think, is that many professors these days are the people who write grant applications. They've never played online games before. So there's this huge generational disconnect at the moment between the people who review these funding proposals. None of them grew up with the internet. They were all introduced to the internet later in life, people who are, you know, senior career researchers at the moment. And then you've all these young people today who grew up with life. They don't know anything without the internet. So there's this huge gap in expectations. And what we're trying to do is because I'm part of the generation who grew up playing games. I was a kid when Pokemon came out, so it was huge. And I'm trying to take some of that inspiration from the games that I grew up with and plug that into the app. So our plan is that the user starts at level 0 and they start as a ray of sunshine beaming into the ocean. And as they level up, we're going to tell a story about the evolution of life. So there's a plankton feeding on the sunlight in the ocean. And we're going to tell an impact of what plastic has on that particular species. And as the user collects more data, we're going to guide them through, you know, the zooplankton rises to the sea surface at night to feed on the phytoplankton, and we're going to guide people through that way. And so what we're doing is I'm also creating litter NFTs. So these are NFTs rewarded for certain milestones. They'll commemorate high scores and recognition for participating if your data was used in a scientific paper. And I want these to become some of the most collectible items in crypto. And hopefully in the future, when we don't have to deal with the bad news of plastic pollution every day, these litter NFTs will be, they will commemorate the effort that the individual citizen scientists made in discovering new knowledge about how badly polluted the planet is, and rewarding them and recognizing their participation, which is currently lacking. And like social media, so the students brought social media to the university. No university professor said, we're going to teach you today about social media. It was just the norm. And I believe citizen science will travel down the same path, that it won't be, there won't be too many professors bringing it to university, but rather the students will be bringing it to school. So that's my plan for the future. That was my quick version of the presentation, but I think I got most of it out. But if you have any questions you'd like to learn more, I don't know if we have time because I ran over time there a lot. Thanks for your patience. But if you want to do a breakout room where we have some quick questions, that'd be great.
Really incredible, Seán. I don't know about anybody else, but I was sending some messages on my phone, like Seán's talking about Littercoin, a game for your 16-year-old kid. You know, I'm already not twittering it, but you know, the same idea, already spreading this news. So thank you, Seán. I have a question about gaming the system. You did touch on that about 100 verified. So is the idea to just take a picture of the litter, or is there a component of actually picking up the litter when you see a mask?
It's really up to the individual, but most of our users are active litter pickers who want to record what they're finding. So these guys like are big time, they'll do whatever it takes to try and fix this problem. So most of them are already litter picking, but there's many people out there, nobody wants to do everything, or very few people want to do everything. So some people are only interested in picking up litter, and you'll find other people that only want to collect data. And what we need to do is try and give everyone an opportunity to do a little bit. So we can't expect everyone to pick up litter, because if you're rushing to work in the morning or to a meeting and you find a load of broken glass on the street, you're wearing your nice outfit and you don't have time and you're going to spill coffee everywhere, you don't have time to get on your knees and start picking up broken glass, but you can take a photo, and someone else then can respond to your data query and actually deal with the problem. So some people want to do everything, but we can't assume that everyone will do everything. So, but there is room for everyone to do something, because anyone can take a photo. If you can pick it up, that's fantastic. If you can't, we still need the data, because that data tells us that there's a problem in society. There's a needle in the playground, there's broken glass, you know, pets coming, that kind of thing. Yeah, no one has to do everything, but everyone can do something.
Okay, so we've got a total of about an hour left in our meeting. I'm feeling like, Yoram, if you're okay, we're gonna just keep going with Seán's presentation. Yeah. Dan,
Yeah,
your hands up, go for it.
Thanks, Melanie. Thanks, Seán, for this amazing presentation. I heard about Littercoin many times, but now I think I got an almost full picture, really well thought out. I'd like to play devil's advocate here a bit. And what if I just take my trash and I just empty it on the street and I take photos while emptying it? I mean, that's how do you mitigate against this behavior of gaming the game? Yeah,
so the people who use our app, typically they understand the problem. They're not the people who go out littering. And people will always litter, right? It's going to be a part of society forever. So if people try and game the system, that's part of the science of understanding how society engages with citizen science. So it's up to the researcher to try and spot those outliers and try and understand that data better, because that's still a legitimate part of citizen science. But I believe that the positive impact that citizen science will make will vastly outweigh any negative impact by a small number of outliers trying to game the system, because most people do play the game correctly. And if there are any people trying to cheat, it's just going to be negligible in the scale of the positive environmental impact that citizen science can have. It's also illegal. It's illegal to litter, and they're fined. So if people get caught, there's serious consequences. This is a common.
I mean,
no,
it's not
yeah,
everywhere.
in many, I know, but in many parts of the world. But this is a common criticism, and I kind of understand the theory behind it. But in reality, the people don't go out littering and taking photos. The people who litter, they don't care. They're not going to use the app. They're not our target audience.
You're in a status now where you have people that are advocating your cause, that are think alike. But as soon as this becomes maybe a bit bigger, there's more value behind it. There's more motivation also to get to this value, same as with Catalyst. When funding becomes more, people will be attracted to it because they will think, okay, I can get coffee for free if I just spill some trash and take a photo of it. That's and this is, I mean, yes, we cannot mitigate this completely, but I think it has to be thought about very early on and have some kind of community mechanism to flag these users or something. I don't know.
There's a few things we can do. Like, we can train the AI, and we can have like algorithms looking at, is the same can of Coke uploaded just 100 times in a row? Those kind of things are very easy to catch. But the target audience is people who understand the problem. The people who go out littering, I can't see them ever using this app, personally, in my experience. But we'll definitely keep an eye on it, and we'll have to wait and see, because this is new. Citizen science is like totally new, so we haven't really gotten to that stage yet. But even if people do cheat and they game the system, they're going to get access to the zero waste economy. It's not the worst thing in the world. The worst thing that's going to happen is get some vegetables at their local waste store. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the rewards.
I'm not too worried about it. Yeah,
the rewards themselves are rewarding, right? They're really rewarding for the environment.
But you still create more trash to get these rewards. That's the point. Because we want to reduce trash, and we don't want people or purposefully putting out more trash because they can get a coffee from it.
Yeah, they call it the there's something to do with a snake. I can't remember. I'll come back to you.
Yeah,
But,
the Ouroboros kind of chicken and the egg problem, I guess.
yeah, it's something to keep an eye on, but most people who use the app are litter pickers. The people who hate litter, they'll take one photo and they get bored because they don't see the value in spending their time collecting this data. But I haven't met anyone yet trying to game the system to earn the rewards, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it moving forward.
Jacob, you're next.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I really like the idea, really cool. I think it was very neat. So I got a few points. I was thinking about something similar like Dan, and I was thinking that the user base depends a lot on the incentive mechanisms in the long term. So, I mean, you said the token itself won't be tradable, but you are trying to create this kind of NFT rewards. So I don't know if you have so and so many litter coins, whatever, right? If you created this and that many photos, you will get certain NFTs. And I mean, although the Littercoin won't be listed on a centralized exchange, I think it's very hard in future to prevent it from listing or being traded on decentralized exchanges, and also the NFTs, which will have an inherent value. And so therefore, I mean, indirectly, the Littercoin will, or could, I don't know how the mechanisms are, maybe you can elaborate on that a bit further, but will have a value. And so, and then the incentive to do what Dan described would increase depending on how popular it is, right? But imagine, for example, you can, I don't know, have an metaverse avatar, right, that has a lot of litter coins, and it's very cool and it's very trendy, and everybody wants to be like this sustainable guy, and these avatars are more worthy or something like that, then the incentive mechanism would change. And then the other question I have is regarding the stake pool. You mentioned something there. I didn't quite understand how you want to incorporate that into your model, and also long term how you want to finance it, because as far as I understood, creating all these NFTs and these stories and gamification obviously costs time and money, yeah, especially if it should be great. And then the question is there a roadmap or ways to sustainably finance it in the future?
Good questions. So with the exchanges and the DEX, the decentralized exchanges, we can, I believe it's possible to validate the integrity of a Littercoin with a smart contract. So you could potentially have a Littercoin in your wallet and you can look at its history of where it's been transacted in the past. And if it's been transacted on a DEX, if we can flag one of those exchanges or one of those wallet addresses where a Littercoin was uploaded, we can then say this Littercoin is no longer valid and the smart contract won't accept it. So as soon as a Littercoin leaves the ecosystem, it's gone, it's burnt, and it won't be coming back because our smart contract doesn't have to accept it. The plan for the stake pool is it'll accumulate rewards, and those rewards will be locked in a smart contract. And when I go to a zero waste store to spend my Littercoin, the zero waste store gets the Littercoin, and they're the ones who can exchange it for a proportion of what's in the smart contract. So the zero waste store is the only one who can use Littercoin and extract value from the smart contract where the staking rewards are accumulating. So it gives retailers a reason to accept it. And if a Littercoin comes from anywhere else except from these pre-approved vendors, then it won't be allowed, and especially if it's gone through a DEX or a decentralized exchange. So I haven't really dug into the technical details of how that works yet, but that's sort of my idea of how it could work, is that we can look at the history of Littercoin, we'll know the addresses of any decentralized exchanges if it's gone through one, and if it's been on one, then it won't be redeemable anymore because it'll have been traded. And we want to make it a non-tradable token.
But are you talking about a stake pool like on Cardano, where you like delegate your ADA and then?
And the
And
stake
then-
pool generates rewards.
But the question is, who would stake to your to the stake pool if they don't get the rewards?
Well, we could do a split. So what some stake pools do is they put some of their rewards into a project, or they donate it every month to certain causes. So I call it crypto social responsibility, like corporate social responsibility. But what I'd like to do in the future is that the community votes on the rules and the economics of this. So there'll probably be another token as well that's rewarded to people for their activity. And then everyone gets a vote on should the split be 50% or should it be something else, or what's the threshold to earn a Littercoin. That'll all become decentralized. And this would be all these rules that I'm trying to just map out now in a version 1. Over time, these will improve and iterate as we experiment with new ideas.
Seán, if
yeah.
I may jump in, I think, first of all, I mean, Jacob, can I jump in for a second? Or you're still...
Yeah, no, sure.
Okay, sorry. I mean, I think first of all, it's amazing and, as I mentioned, inspiring to see someone for so many years and persistent to trying to find and work on a solution, which is a very complex solution and very big, right? I think the challenge of the solution is that it's so wide, right? As you said, and it can go so wide. And the challenge is how can we help? And again, I mean, we can ask a lot of critical questions, but finally the question is if there is ways and ideas of how can we also help. And I think one of the key areas when you have so wide opportunities, especially from development perspective, and I said it so many times, is that you can do everything, right? When you imagine a project, you can do everything. But when you start executing, focus is very, very important, right? And what's the first location and what's the even first target market, and more the focus is then after you focus and you start getting the right people on board, then start scaling it. So I don't know, this is some of the ideas, because I mean this project is so huge. I mean the vision of what you are doing is so huge, right? But you need to start somewhere which is very concrete and get gains, in my view, and start growing it. Yeah, I mean this is why, because every aspect that you mentioned is very complex. I mean the NFT marketplace. I mean just solving, okay, who is picking and what picking, and you know the question that Dan raised, right? It's very important. Then the question that Jacob raised, most of them is so huge questions that deal with so many details, which I think is very complex. So my suggestion, and I think the process is really how to best focus first. In a way, other is just a suggestion and idea, and I'm happy to that we can brainstorm around that. Yeah, what's the right way to start, the milestones? I mean, that's kind of my observation a little bit, if it makes sense.
I'll tell you a little bit about our milestone. It's all up here. I haven't really put it down on paper yet. So that's like where we're at. It's very new and it's very underdeveloped, and we're still like fixing bugs. So 12 years of research, 74 grant rejections, first funding from Catalyst in Fund 4. Incredible. So we now have 2 developers working part-time, and I'm leaving my day job on Friday. I work as a software developer by day, and I'm going full-time on this for winter. And I have another app that I need to make for another client, but I have a few things on the go. So I'll be busy for winter, and I'll be focused on this and these projects. So the 2 developers that are Catalyst funded that are working now, they have been working for about 10 weeks. They're familiar with the code now. They've fixed a lot of bugs. They've refactored a lot of the app. You can see everything they're working on GitHub. It's all open source. So my plan for the winter is fix the last remaining bugs, add a couple of new features that the users of the app have been requesting for a while. And next year, we're going to launch a new school and corporate data collection competition. It's called Litter Week. So we have Science Week, we have Climate Week, there's no litter week. And the beauty of the model is that it's a week you can do in any week. So it's not one specific week every year. You take the litter week challenge and you do it any week that suits you. And we're going to have leaderboards, companies can join. We're going to invite schools and sports clubs, and we're going to compete everyone against each other in a World Cup, the Litter World Cup. And we're going to see who can collect the most amount of data. And there'll be other prizes then for whoever can collect the most amount of data. So I'm planning to buy an iPhone. People need iPhones for collecting data, and everyone wants a new iPhone. So whatever student in high school can collect the most data wins a brand new iPhone. So it creates a huge incentive for young people to try and get out there and be a part of using the technology they love to trying to fix a problem that they understand. So that'll bring once the app is ready next year, we have time to work on these leaderboards and the design and the visualization. A challenge like that will help onboard hopefully lots of schools, lots of people. So we're going to do a big community drive next year.
So that's amazing. So you already have a target market and go to market. I will suggest putting it very clear in the presentation that you have a target market, go to market. It's hard to kind of concentrate on that, all the efforts. Just an idea, but you have it, it's great.
And I have a few corporate partners. And last week I had a call with Sky Ireland, who run the TV network. They're one of the biggest TV media companies in Ireland and the UK, and they're looking for team building exercises and to improve their corporate social responsibility and their footprint in the community. So I had a call with them, and we're now partners, and they trained 10 of their employees as ambassadors who are going to teach the rest of the company and their friends and community about how to use the app. So they got the hour-long presentation, and they all created an account straight away. And I've got another Fortune 500 company based in Ireland who contacted me, and I can't say who it is yet, but you all know who they are. And the same thing, they're looking for team building exercises and to have a good impact in the community. And they already do things like beach cleans and litter picks, but they're looking for something digital that'll engage their employees and create a really a positive workplace that are fixing the problems we hear about in the news every day. So the corporates get it, right? They want to be a part of this. What's missing now is the technology isn't ready yet. But thanks to the funding on Cardano, it's getting there. And my plan is to continue fixing those bugs and launching some new features over the winter. So hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months, the app is going to be in a much better place. Because right now I'm only doing it like evenings and weekends. But now I'll be able to put in a good 30, 40, 50 hours a week for the next 8 to 10 weeks again.
So it's thanks to the funding from Cardano and your passion. Marco.
Yeah,
please.
thanks.
Please, sorry.
Hey everyone. I don't know exactly how could I explain my idea. I think that we are diversifying all the concepts that we could merge in one. And I don't know if picking all the projects and all ideas that are related, for instance, with the climate, it wouldn't be better for us to achieve some effective goals. I think that we have a problem. As ambientalists, sometimes we see the beauty and the utopia of the doing good for the environment, and we forget that almost everyone in the world see money. I follow the Planet Watch, that it's another project that tries to get data from the weather, and they struggle every day with people, with stupid people, humans, that only see money. They don't see the efforts that they are doing to develop the concept and the app. When they found a bug, they only ask, where is my tokens? Where I get my rewards? So what I want to say is, I don't know if take out the money from the equation, not money, but tokens. and give only the gamification aspect, it's not utopic. I think if the people see money, they are more able to get that data, and even I think it's a huge project that you have there, but you could go further. For instance, you could try to get, how do you say, the carbon credits, for instance. If when someone picks trash, they could get carbon credits and they sell it, like Elon Musk is doing, unfortunately. I don't know if I can express myself.
Yeah, you raise an important point there. And the way I think Littercoin will finish, the end game for Littercoin is that the producers of this pollution will be forced to pay the Littercoin holders for picking up the waste that they produced. So if we can prove that human effort was made to clean the planet, collect X amount of data that various companies are irresponsibly producing without the waste management to capture it, but the person cleaning it should be paid by the people profiting.
But who will gonna force them to pay? For instance, I live in a country where you could throw away trash and nobody punishes.
Now, I don't have the answer to that, but the way we can achieve it is by making everything open source, because it gives everyone access to the same data, tools, code, and knowledge. And that's what science is all about. Now, what can be done with the data is open for interpretation. But that's the exciting part, is that because governments have access to the data, you and I have access to the data, various NGOs, we all have access to the same data. That's why it's called open letter map. It's not that we try and restrict access to the data and only governments can access it, only corporations can access it. By opening up all the access to the data, now society can have a dialogue about what is this data, and like what are we going to do with it. And one of the things that I think might be possible, and it's hard to achieve in reality, but it's easy to say, is that the producers of pollution would have to abide by the producer or the polluter pays principle. Every country is different. This, it's a complex
it's
thing
a wicked
to achieve.
Problem. It's a wicked problem, and we don't know where the problem comes from, but together we can. Marco, you did bring up a point there about capitalism. And what I see Seán doing is also bypassing money by creating a token that gets exchanged at a business that produces good. So we are bypassing the capitalism in that sense of the word. I'm just cognitive of the time, you guys. Seán, you are just drawing us in like unbelievable, but I'm also noticing that we have new people in the group. I would just, Dan and Ryan, will you put your hands down for just a second? I need to just see if we want to carry on with beaming questions at Seán, or should we just take a little intro break? So here we are, intro break to meet new people, hands up. Just as I'm doing a teacher thing. Okay, keep asking Seán questions, hands up.
No, I think let's do Dan and Ryan and then see if there's other key questions.
Okay, so we have Dan, Ryan,
Who
ahead.
else have a question? Let's keep it for 3
Okay.
4 more key questions, or who else have a question, and then kind of we can a little bit hear the people that are first time, how they feel, how they
It was much more of a remark, because Seán, you said that you had issues with funding, but it sounds like you got it mainly under control and there's not that big of an issue. So when I heard issue with funding, I immediately thought about why not connect with some artists and just create nice looking NFTs that where the sale will support your development, that makes you independent of Catalyst, that makes you independent of corporate funding that wants to have a say in where you're driving this. And so you would get funds immediately from the community and then incentivize them with some nice visuals and the feeling that they co-founded, so to say, Littercoin. That's it.
That's a good idea. I like it. And one thing that people are doing is they're making art with litter. And you can see this on Open Litter Map. If you visit the global map at the top right corner, there's a checkbox and you can turn off the global data and turn on the art. And there's a few points there. Look for the one in Ireland. I can actually show you right now.
Do you know Rubbish Animation? It's a guy that is doing animations from rubbish. Wait, check this out. Maybe you can connect with him and talk about some concepts.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
If I turn off global and I turn on the art, there's a small few dots, but one of the ones that I really like here is this shark that was made out of littered beverage cans.
Wow.
And this is Cork. This is Cork where I live. And like, how cool is that?
Wow.
Yeah, totally unknown. And it was destroyed by a storm, so it's gone. But its memory now lives on forever on our global map.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's something that can be NFT'd.
That's fucking lovely.
Yeah, and there's more. So if you find art that's made from waste around the world, you can tag it with our app, and you can see now, everyone can see about art that was made from waste on the global map.
Damn it, I just got off of smartphones and now you're giving me a reason to go back to smartphones. That's ridiculous. Oh, well done.
There's also homes being made out of plastic waste. So that would be another one great thing to have on your app where waste is being recycled. Amazing.
It might be. The problem with recycling is it justifies the production of new plastic.
Yeah, this one, in this case, it's out of India and they have plenty of waste that they're using. And that's the other part, incentivizing the producers to pay for their waste. Does that incentivize them to create more waste? So there's that fine line of that too. But when it is something that is actually taking the waste and moving it into something good, I could see that going on your app as well. Ryan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. Seán, as we have this group here and more members on signing up every day, how can we help you? How can we be a resource? Do these roundtables where, help us help not only your project, but other projects as we continue doing this? And how can we be a resource to you and your project?
That'd be great. I don't even have an answer to that at the moment. There's so many different things going on, but what we need are testers for the app and people to help us verify images. And we've stopped now, but we need help drawing boxes over all the litter to train the AI, the Open Litter AI. So that's crowdsourced. So anyone can do that. That's also redeemable in Littercoin, helping to attach, there's a cigarette butt in this image. Where is it? The AI needs to know. So we need help drawing polygons and boxes and stuff. We need developers, right? We need people looking at the code on GitHub and debugging it and adding new features, or maybe fork it and rebuild the app and try and do something different with it and experiment. What we need to do is we need to open up the the API and allow people to build an entirely different front-end interface that will connect in with the back end. Because different cultures and different age groups will have different visual expectations. So there's no one size fits all for citizen science. different people are going to want different things. And when we launch the or when the app is more developed, we need to do a community drive. So it would be really helpful if you're based in a university or you have a local community group that meets up and they do litter picks or something. Become an ambassador and give the same presentation. Maybe we could work on a more generic presentation that everyone could share, and we could potentially give that presentation in our local university or community group or whoever we deal with. I also want to start national chapters. So we have, I was speaking with a group of students in Argentina recently, and they're starting Open Letter Map Argentina in their university. And we've got a strong Dutch community and in the UK as well. What I'd love to do is set up, groups for every jurisdiction so they can deal with the media or the situation in their local community, because although it's a global problem, there's still national research infrastructures and policy targets and governments and stuff. So it'd be very useful to start building up some of those chapters, and that'll hopefully happen soon. Once we get a couple of bugs out of the way, we're going to do a community drive. So trying to help share ideas and feed into that community drive would be very welcome.
There's so much you've said. Sorry, Jorm, there's so much you've said, like when we think about Cardano, Catalyst, the hubs that are being created, there's a real strong connection. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I think that our community will find those connections for you, whether it is in Marco's country or wherever it is. These are your ambassadors now for the areas that we live in. I can see this also being part of our action plan for November. Something, Seán, if you can give us, 3 things that we could do as a community at our November event, we'll add it to our climate action plan. Having you at that, this is being recorded as well. So we put it on our YouTube channel. Please share it. Ryan, we're the best marketing for Seán right now. And I have a image on YouTube that has 250 shares. It's an Irish guy drinking beer, talking about goals for 2050. He'll quit drinking by 2050. Probably won't be alive by then. But there's some stupid stuff that people share. This is really incredible. I already know about 5 or 6 that I'm getting on board with this. So
yeah.
Fabulous.
It's amazing. I think it's what I will suggest, again, just a suggestion, if you can build some kind of a roadmap and share it, and then say for each period of the roadmap what help you need. Because when you know what help you need, it's easier to say, okay, how can we get this help, right? Because you're not in the phase, for example, of reaching out to student groups, but you will be there, let's say, in 3 months or 6 months. So in this stage, you can say, hey, I'm in this stage, who knows about student groups, right? So I think and it's very tough. I mean, it's very tough to know what you need in this stage sometimes. But if you can break it down, so then we can know, okay, this is what you need now, who can help with that, right?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that soon once I am. I'll be working on this full time from Friday night, so we'll get something online quickly.
Nori, do you have an image to share? I just made you co-host.
Oh, it was just the man drinking image I put into chat.
Oh, okay. I can't download it. It's a security issue on my little laptop. Oh, Seán, this is
image. It's what we feel about COP26, right? This image. So that's this is why everyone loved it.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's very good. I think it's Waterford Whispers.
So ground up solutions, Seán, absolutely fantastic. And very glad that you're here with us. I put it in the chat, for us that are here, remember this, that we were here, 12 years into Seán's journey, but at the beginning of this becoming really, really big. I'm definitely on board. I want to see how we can connect this to identifying clear cuts, you know, so that the people that are clear cutting are going to start saying, hey, you know, we're becoming accountable for the damage that we're doing, whether it's polluting or fish farms or whatever it might be. That I can see there's this massive, we're the eyes on the ground. You know, they may be eyes in the sky, but we are eyes on the ground for what's going on, and nothing will change until we have that connected somehow. Okay, it seems like a little bit of a lull. We've got about 20 minutes of our regular meeting. Thibaut, thank you so much for doing the Miro board. We'll take a boo at that afterwards. For those of you that don't know Thibaut, he's this master at Post-its and organizing information into all these thoughts that we have and these plans and ideas. He has this beautiful way of organizing them into things. Thibaut, do you want to say
in
anything?
addition to that, Thibaut, maybe you can speak about is basically a proposal to support mini proposals. So if you have a mini proposal that can get fast funding, I don't know, maybe Thibaut, you can speak more about that, please.
So two things. One for them regarding the Miro board. I guess I misunderstood the requests because I was doing the Google document what was given. I just made a facilitated session on a Miro board, but then realized it's a more of a project management document, so I stopped doing that from there. And now it feels like you expected me to take notes on the Miro board from this session, or maybe
Not at all.
Yeah.
Sorry, Thibaut. I didn't mean to do that. I just figured you would take it and look at it and do something with it. So whatever you've done is absolutely perfect. What you've done is actually started something for us. And if you imagine our little group that's grown to 99 or 102 people, minus a couple, we started something very imperfect, but it has grown into something that becomes more and more perfect. So I apologize because my communication was a little bit unclear as to what we were doing. I don't really even know sometimes. I just know that you're the expert at this. Yoram did ask you to share about your proposal though.
So I guess the idea was that how could people in here leverage the mini proposal process more than how did my proposal go, because it is going well. I'm doing the sessions. I got funded also. And just today morning, I was writing up a proposal for Fund 7.2. But so, yeah, I mean, every after town hall, I will have a workshop where people can join. You can bring your idea there, and I just kick it off with the brainstorming and giving feedback. How would you start writing a proposal? And one thing to notice that if, for example, Seán within open litter map, he has quite a big idea. So in that session, I would take it down into smaller scope. So either just developing that what you need or communicating the idea, and that so not like a holistic idea, but part of that idea is to make it more detailed on a specific scope on the problem you want to solve. If there are people who want to have that session outside of the after town hall, then just contact me. I'm collecting a list of people so we could run these sessions more often and not only a few times per week. So yeah, just connect me in Discord. I can give you my Discord handle, or just hit me up right here, right now. I guess that's it.
And Tivo, I just added our Telegram chat. Hopefully you can join that as well. And then people can connect with you that way.
I don't really like Telegram, so
Okay. I understand some people don't like Facebook, right, Jacob?
Sure.
Okay, so I hope Seán caught that. If not, we'll pass that information on. You are there, right, Seán? You got that?
I did, thanks.
Yeah, Tivo, you know, Yoram's suggestion, Tivo's expertise, I can see that roadmap coming up really beautifully.
That'd be great. Yeah, I need to do. I used to do it about a year ago. We had community calls like this where anyone could join at a certain hour, but things changed. We all got distracted. But I'll be online a lot more working on this. So we're going to have a dedicated open letter map hour every week, maybe 2 hours, 2 separate hours where people can come and go if you want to hear what we're up to and see who's using the app. And yeah, all are welcome.
Yeah, so keep us linked to that as well. And I think that, you know, even having a breakout room, eventually we might get big enough to be able to do that on a Wednesday morning as well, dedicated to that. Okay. So I see a few new people. Carolin, I'm going to put you on the spot. Sorry to do that. Anybody else? I usually ask the question, we've got 15 minutes. I usually ask the question, what brings you here? What is it? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. If anybody else wants to answer that, that's fine too. But what brings you to this group? What's on your heart?
Hi, good evening, I guess. Yes, I'm a huge fan of fighting against climate change, and so I got really interested when I saw that this group exists, and I always wanted to join this call. So last week I joined the Telegram channel and you invited me, and then this was like the trigger to make my dreams come true and join this session to see which projects are happening here, because we are ourselves building a local production, so kind of saving like CO2 and with our concept. So we ourselves are trying to make a better world with the help of Cardano, and I was really interested in how other people use it for this purpose and not just for, I don't know, gambling, but for really making a change. So yeah, this was really inspiring to hear about Open Litter Map, and I hope to hear about more inspiring projects. That's why I'm here.
Do you have a little bit more information about your project that you feel like you might want to share? Because that will also connect you with other people.
Yes, sure. We want to build a decentralized production network in Uganda, and we are focusing on fashion production at the moment. And the goal is to have like a democratic production system where every stakeholder has the power to decide about business decisions and owns the business and gets involved into the production processes. And also we want to like build a system or a DAO that enables really local production and that makes it scalable, but still decentralized, so that the network can profit from the network effects that make them scale, but at the same time, everybody has the ownership on her or his production, and everybody, yes, is independent, but still they profit from each other. So we want to bring standards into the network. I don't know if that made sense.
Absolutely.
We also had,
And Dan has some points in the chat you need to see. Dan, do you want to
No,
bring?
we don't know that.
Do you want to clarify that a little bit?
No, not really. Yeah, I'm just throwing it in there. No, these are guys I found on Twitter. They're doing something similar-ish, and they're right now in India. I don't know, might be a good idea to connect and just exchange ideas with them.
Yes, thank you.
But they want to do like clothing that is verifiable via NFTs. So each piece of the clothing can be traced back to where it came from, who threaded it, who sold it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we were actually going that way too, but now we are more focusing on empowering the stakeholders, and because we saw a lot of problems in tokenization or in connecting NFTs so to the clothing, so that's not where we start at the moment, but it definitely is where we want to go. Of course, I think it's really efficient if you have transparent value chains.
Yeah, when you speak about stakeholder, you speak about the producers, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So not about all the stakeholders, but on the producer, we basically empower the producers, right? To give them knowledge and connection.
Yes, actually, we want also to build a brand, so it won't be also only the producers, but also the shop owners, and we want to have a token where everybody can invest in, so that we can give liquidity if somebody wants to scale up the business or wants to start a business, so that we also be a liquidity provider, so they will also be stakeholders.
Do you have a link? Do you have a link?
Yes, I'll share a link. We have.
Good, that's good. And you do speak to my heart, because in a big portion of my life, I've been a professional seamstress, and I just sold my industrial machines, still have fabric left. It is a hard job to do, and giving more people the power within it. You know, I'm on board with you for sure, in whatever way I can help.
Okay, I'd love to talk to you in a different session about that, or hear more about your opinion on that, because of course we need a lot of people that have experience in that field. Okay, I was about to search the link.
And T to Farah, would you like to pipe in at this point? Because we've got about 10 more minutes and then we're closing up. Waya Collective. Okay, good. Thanks, Carolin.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and please connect with me on Telegram. I feel like I've been really stretched thin lately, and I need to focus on things that are really important, and helping you would be one of those as well. So keep bugging me.
Yes, I'll do that. I'd love to hear your opinion.
Thank you. Anybody else, anything else coming up in your heart before we close up? This has been pretty cool. Mike, you're grinning. You've been here from the very beginning.
No, everything's, yeah, I've already signed up for OpenStreetMap. I'm gonna start testing it.
And my daughter gave me an iPhone recently, so I'm on board with that too. I just have to figure out how to use it. Seán, you unmuted for a second there. Did you have something else to say?
No, just thanks everyone for listening in and joining. I really appreciate your time and your interest. And this is only the beginning. There's like so much good stuff going to come, especially if we can onboard schools and sports clubs and get everyone involved. There's a lot of people who want to fix this problem, so we need to give them the platform that they need. So thanks everyone.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being so dedicated, and your persistence. Oh my God. You know, we missed funding, and I was a little bit disappointed this time. for about 30 seconds. And then I realized that we have other ways of figuring this out and we're not going away. So thank you for that dedication and that persistence.
Every day. Guys, I gotta go, but we'll
Okay.
be in touch.
Okay, ciao. All right, Scott, how about you? I'm going to put you on the spot. Would you like to check in and tell us why you're here?
I would. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm a developer. So I'm looking for things to help on. So just kind of wanted to check it out.
Awesome, and I hope you find that connection somewhere. And that's the first thing you do is start looking around and seeing what resonates with you. So welcome and thanks for coming. Are you part of the Telegram chat?
I'm probably not. I'm on several Telegram channels, but I probably need to figure out which one this is.
I did share it earlier. I'll try and do it again.
Okay, I can look there. I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, so it's right there. If you want to join us, you may find some sort of connection there. We do have an event coming up in November where we'll showcase more. Yoram, do you want to talk about that a little bit again?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if Scott, you were here from the beginning, but basically it's a great event on the 23rd of November, which we need to continue and promote now also, everyone. You can share it. And the idea is really to have it an ongoing event every month or 2 months that speaks about what happened in Cardano and climate change ecosystem, and support basically, then support specifically the various proposals on the ecosystems. So it's going to be on the 23rd, the first event. We're going to present there an update about Cardano and climate change and what's happening in the ecosystem in terms of proposals on climate change. Going to go into very inspirational guest speaker, some actions that everyone can start taking, and then we will break into different breakout room, a little bit like the format we did now, where we will have a few categories and you will have a few minutes explanation about the subject, like a circular economy like now, and then actually a presentation of a proposals, related proposal. So how it's connect to blockchain and so on. So very cool, and we need developers to help. I think a lot of people, we will invite there a lot of people that work on climate change solutions, but are not necessarily coming from the development technology side. And bringing them into the ecosystem, I think can have massive opportunity and massive, yeah, and to create this connection will be very important. So please, yeah, please follow and see and catch up on which proposals you believe in and you can think that you can help to scale, and that will be amazing.
I put the link in the chat for the November event, Scott. We do plan on having a lot of off-chain projects, and connecting it to on-chain people is really important. It's like you translate what's going on in the real world into the virtual, onto blockchain. So we really need you, and we thank you for being here.
No problem. Yeah, glad to be here. Good cause.
Uzgur, did you have something to say? You unmuted for a minute.
Hello, Melanie. I'm sorry for this week's meeting. I am in a rural area where I have bad connection. I wonder if you can hear me.
We can hear you. It's also recorded. The meeting's been recorded, so we can share that with you after.
Yeah, the presentation was great from Seán. I was really, heartfelt it. So I will see how I can support his initiative from Turkey, because he mentioned that he is also looking for some national chapters. So let's see. We will see how we can help him. It's a great project. Sorry for Gökçe also. This time is very bad for her. She is really interested and motivated, but This time is she has to leave the work, and there is a traffic in Ankara, so unfortunately she cannot make it. But I told her that she can contact to the community through the channel. So let's hear from her. That's all for now from me.
Yeah, well, we can also arrange another time and maybe just a smaller meeting and record what she wants to show us at a more convenient time. I woke up this morning at 5 and started, I made the mistake of looking at my phone and started chatting with Yoram, who's been awake for several hours before me. And it's like, yep, Cardano for climate never sleeps. So we do want to make this available for other time zones as best as possible. So thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Last thing, let's
Teams meeting
promote
then.
let's promote the conference and try to bring. I think it's important also within the foundation and within the ecosystem that we bring good audience to the conference, and the content is going to be great. So yeah, any help on that will be great.
And so one more ask before we close up. If you see this snail around, I'm going to post the picture again in the Telegram chat. So I'm talking and I'm muted. I'm not sure how much I said. So I'm going to repeat myself. The snail, I'm going to put it in Telegram chat again. If you can add that as your backdrop or put it on the back of your wall like Yoram, whatever. It's just this idea that Cardano4Climate is going very slowly, but expanding. There we go, Ryan, see? We won't have a presentation at today's town hall, but we will be present with the little snail in the backdrop. And it'll just be one of those metrics where it brings attention to our project, to our cause. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Charles Hoskinson will be there today. So it would be really neat. And the other thing that you can do also is on Zoom, on your image, on the little dots, you can rename yourself. And I put myself, Melanie, as Cardano4Climate if you want to also recognize, help support that as well. So we are at past. Thank you so much for carving out some time. I get so overwhelmed by all the information that's coming out there. And I really want to say thank you for doing this. Nori, go ahead.
Since this is recorded for anybody watching later, and this has been lost in the Telegram chat, the snail background is in the resources section of our Discord, so you can always go and get it there. I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Nori.
Additionally, the great thing about changing your background is it shows up in your other Zoom meetings. You have to answer questions about what is that.
There we are, just like that.
Yeah, that's an amazing way of opening conversations. I've done that countless times.
Yeah, people wonder where I got the last name Cardano4Climate from. Okay, people, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to download this video. It'll be in our YouTube channel as soon as I possibly can. Okay, see you all at Town Hall in, is it an hour and a half or 2.5 hours?
Hour and a half.
Right? Hour and a half, okay.
Okay.
Still different for some. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Take care.